Right now, in this very moment, you are exactly where your thoughts have placed you. Look around your life, your bank account, your home, your circumstances. They are not accidents. They are not the result of bad luck, unfair systems, or other people's decisions. They are the perfect reflection of the consciousness you have been carrying, the beliefs you have been nurturing, and the mental patterns you have been feeding. Raise your hand if you believe external forces control your financial destiny. Keep it up if you think the economy, your boss, your family background, or your education determines how much money you can make. Now look at those hands. Every raised hand represents a person who has surrendered their power to create wealth. Every raised hand belongs to someone who has accepted limitation as their permanent address. What if I told you that poverty is not your natural state, but a temporary condition you have accepted? What if the very thoughts running through your mind right now are either building bridges to millions or constructing barriers to keep you exactly where you are? Your financial reality is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The moment you understand this truth, truly understand it in your bones, everything changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Because the power to transform your financial life does not reside in some future opportunity, some lucky break, or some external savior. It lives within the consciousness you carry between your ears. You see, most people are walking around in a trance, believing they are victims of circumstances. They point to their childhood, their education, their connections, their timing, their luck. They have 1,000 reasons why wealth belongs to other people, but not to them. They have convinced themselves that financial abundance requires something they do not possess, some advantage they were never given, some secret they were never taught. This is the great lie that keeps millions trapped in financial mediocrity. This is the prison of the mind that locks people into limitation and throws away the key. But the truth, the liberating, life changing truth, is that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of them. Every dollar in your bank account, every debt on your statement, every financial stress keeping you awake at night. You created it all, not consciously perhaps, but you created it through the lens of consciousness you have been using to view money, success, and your own worthiness. Your outer world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your inner world back to you. This might make you uncomfortable. It should, because accepting total responsibility for your financial situation is the most uncomfortable and most liberating realization you will ever have. Uncomfortable because it means you can no longer blame anyone or anything for where you are. Liberating because it means you have the power to change everything. Think of a farmer who plants corn in his field. When harvest time comes, does he stand in his field cursing the universe for giving him corn instead of wheat? Does he blame the government, the weather, or his neighbors for his corn crop? Of course not. He understands the fundamental law of agriculture. You reap what you sow. Plant corn, get corn. Plant wheat, get wheat. The earth does not care about your excuses, your background, or your circumstance. It simply gives you back what you plant. Your financial life operates by this same immutable law. Plant thoughts of lack, limitation, and fear. You harvest a life of struggle and want. Plant thoughts of abundance, possibility, and expectation. You harvest wealth and prosperity. The universe does not care about your story, your past, or your excuses. It simply responds to the consciousness you are broadcasting moment by moment, day by day. But here is where most people get confused. They plant seeds of doubt and worry, then wonder why their financial garden produces nothing but weeds. They spend their mental energy focusing on bills, problems, and limitations, then act surprised when their outer world reflects exactly what they have been cultivating in their inner world. The power to change your financial destiny lies not in changing your circumstances first, but in changing your consciousness first. Change your consciousness and your circumstances must follow. This is not positive thinking or wishful hoping. This is universal law as reliable as gravity. Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman whose story illustrates this principle perfectly. 3 years ago, Sarah was drowning in debt, working 3 jobs, and convinced that financial security was something other people enjoyed, but never her. She had every excuse in the book: single mother, no college degree, bad credit, no connections. Her story was airtight, her victimhood complete. But one evening, exhausted and desperate, Sarah had what she later called her moment of awakening. Sitting in her car outside her 3rd job, she asked herself a question that changed everything. What if my financial problems are not happening to me, but through me? What if I am not a victim of my circumstances, but the creator of them? That question cracked open something inside her. For the first time, she saw that every financial decision she had ever made came from a place of fear, scarcity, and unworthiness. She had been unconsciously choosing limitation in 1,000 small ways, avoiding opportunities because she felt unqualified, settling for less because she believed that was all she deserved, making decisions from fear instead of faith. The shift was subtle but profound. Instead of focusing on what she lacked, she began focusing on what she could create. Instead of seeing herself as someone who could not handle money, she began seeing herself as someone who was learning to handle money wisely. Instead of believing that wealth was for other people, she began claiming her right to financial abundance. She did not suddenly receive a windfall or stumble upon a secret opportunity. What changed was her relationship with money, with opportunity, with her own capability. She began making different choices because she was thinking different thoughts. She began attracting different experiences because she was broadcasting a different consciousness. Within 6 months, Sarah had paid off half her debt and landed a position that doubled her income. Within a year, she had started a side business that was generating substantial additional revenue. Within 3 years, she had achieved a financial security that had once seemed impossible. What changed for Sarah was not her circumstances first. It was her consciousness first. Once her consciousness shifted, her circumstances had no choice but to follow. This is the turning point that every financially successful person experiences. The moment they stop being victims and start being creators. The question burning in your mind right now should be, when will I have my turning point moment? But here's the thing about turning points: they do not happen to you, they happen through you. They occur the moment you decide to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. They occur the moment you stop pointing fingers outward and start pointing your power inward. What story are you telling yourself about money right now? Listen to the narrative running through your head. Are you the hero of your financial story, or are you the victim? Are you someone who creates wealth, or someone who hopes wealth will somehow find you? Are you taking responsibility for your results, or are you waiting for your circumstances to change first? Your honest answer to these questions reveals everything about your financial future. Because your story about money becomes your reality with money. Change your story, change your reality. It is that simple and that profound. How many excuses have you made for your current financial situation in the past month? Count them, write them down if you have to. Every excuse you make is energy that could be used to create solutions instead. Every excuse is a declaration that you are powerless, that outside forces control your destiny, that you are at the mercy of things beyond your control. But what would you attempt if you knew failure was impossible? What financial goal would you set if you were absolutely certain you could achieve it? What actions would you take if you believed without a doubt that you have everything within you right now to create the wealth you desire? These questions are not designed to make you feel good. They are designed to wake you up, because somewhere inside you knows the truth. You know you are capable of far more than your current results suggest. You know you have been playing small, thinking small, and accepting small results as if they were all you deserved. The shift from victim consciousness to creator consciousness happens in an instant. One moment you are someone who things happen to, the next moment you are someone who makes things happen. One moment you are reacting to life, the next moment you are creating life. One moment you are hoping for change, the next moment you are being the change. This shift is not just about changing your thoughts, it is about changing your identity. You must stop seeing yourself as someone who has money problems and start seeing yourself as someone who creates money solutions. You must stop identifying as someone who cannot afford things and start identifying as someone who finds ways to afford anything you truly want. When you operate from creator consciousness, you ask different questions. Instead of why is this happening to me, you ask how am I creating this and how can I create something different? Instead of why do not I have enough money, You ask, what value can I create that people will pay me for? Instead of when will my situation change, you ask, what can I change about myself right now? These questions shift you from powerless to powerful, from reactive to creative, from effect to cause. And when you are operating as cause rather than effect, you have access to the unlimited creative power that is your birthright. You stop being a thermometer that simply reflects the temperature of your circumstances and become a thermostat that sets the temperature of your life. This transformation is not about denying problems or pretending difficulties do not exist. It is about changing your relationship to problems and difficulties. Instead of seeing them as evidence of your limitations, you see them as opportunities to exercise your creative power. Instead of seeing them as permanent fixtures in your life, you see them as temporary conditions that you have the power to change. The universe is not holding back your good. Your abundance is not trapped somewhere waiting for the right conditions to release. Your financial breakthrough is not dependent on external circumstances aligning perfectly. Your wealth exists right now in potential form, waiting for you to claim it through elevated consciousness and aligned action. But claiming your wealth requires you to stop living as if you are at the mercy of forces beyond your control. It requires you to accept that you are far more powerful than you have been pretending to be. It requires you to embrace the uncomfortable truth that you are exactly where your consciousness has placed you, and that changing your consciousness is the key to changing everything else. This is your moment of awakening. This is your turning point, not because of anything I am saying to you, but because of what you are recognizing within yourself. The power to transform your financial life has always been yours. You have simply been looking for it in the wrong places, waiting for it to come from the wrong sources, expecting it to manifest through the wrong means. Your consciousness is the soil in which all your financial results grow. Rich soil produces rich harvests. Poor soil produces poor harvest. The quality of your financial harvest is always determined by the quality of consciousness you are cultivating. And consciousness can be changed, upgraded, and elevated starting right now. Now that you understand consciousness is your soil, the question becomes, what are you planting in this soil every single day? Because here is what separates millionaires from everyone else. They understand that wealth grows from within before it appears without. They know that external riches are simply the natural result of internal development. Raise your hand if you have ever planted a garden. Good. You know that you cannot plant corn today and harvest it tomorrow. You know that seeds need time to germinate, sprout, grow, and mature before they produce their harvest. Yet when it comes to building wealth, most people expect instant results from minimal effort. They want to plant today and harvest today, and when that does not happen, they conclude that wealth building does not work for them. This is the first fundamental error that keeps people trapped in financial mediocrity. They misunderstand the natural process of creation. Wealth, like crops, follows predictable stages of growth. There is a planting season, a growing season, and a harvest season. Miss any stage, and you miss your harvest. Right now, what season are you in with your financial goals? Are you still in the preparation stage, getting your soil ready? Are you in the planting stage, taking the first actions toward your goal? Are you in the growing stage, where you cannot see results yet, but you know something is happening beneath the surface? Or are you in the harvest stage, where your previous efforts are finally bearing fruit? Most people quit during the growing stage. They plant their seeds, they set their goals, make their plans, take some initial action, but then they become impatient when they do not see immediate results. They look at their bank account after 2 weeks of effort and conclude that their approach is not working. They abandon their efforts just before the breakthrough was about to occur. This is like a farmer who plants corn and then digs up the seeds every few days to check if they are growing. The constant digging destroys the very growth he is hoping to see. Your financial seeds need undisturbed time to germinate and grow. Your job is not to keep checking on them anxiously, but to continue nurturing them through consistent daily action. What does this nurturing look like in practical terms? Every morning you feed your consciousness with thoughts of abundance instead of thoughts of lack. Every day you take at least one action that moves you closer to your financial goals, no matter how small. Every evening, you review your progress and express gratitude for the wealth that is growing in your life, even if you cannot see it yet. These daily practices might seem insignificant, but they create what I call the compound effect of consciousness. Just as compound interest turns small investments into large fortunes over time, compound consciousness turns small daily practices into extraordinary results. How many of you understand compound interest? Show of hands. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Yet most people do not apply this principle to their personal development. They think that reading one book, attending one seminar, or taking one course will transform their financial life. But true transformation comes from small, consistent improvements compounded over time. When you improve your financial consciousness by just 1% each day, through study, through practice, through applied learning, you do not just get 1% better. The improvements multiply upon each other. By the end of 1 year, you are not just 65% better, you are 37 times better than when you started. This is why some people seem to have sudden success. It is not sudden at all. It is the result of countless small improvements compounded over time until they reach a tipping point where the results become visible to everyone else. The success was building all along, invisible to the outside world, but very real nonetheless. But here is what most people do instead. They work sporadically, inconsistently, giving intense effort for short periods, followed by long periods of neglect. They attend a seminar and feel inspired for a week, then go back to their old pattern. They read a book about wealth building and take action for a month, then get distracted by other things. They approach their financial growth like a sprinter instead of a marathon runner. Millionaires understand that wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. They show up every day, not just when they feel like it. They take action consistently, not just when they are motivated. They think about their financial goals daily, not just when bills are due. They invest in their financial education regularly, not just when they are in crisis. This consistency creates momentum, and momentum is the secret ingredient that most people are missing. When you take consistent action toward your financial goals, even small actions, you create forward motion in your life. This momentum attracts opportunities, opens doors, and creates the conditions for breakthroughs to occur. Think of momentum like pushing a massive boulder. The first push barely moves it. The second push moves it slightly. The 10th push moves it a little more. But by the 50th push, the boulder is rolling. And by the 100th push, it is rolling so fast that it takes on a life of its own. Your daily efforts are like pushes on that boulder. Each one matters. Each one adds to the total force. Each one brings you closer to the moment when your financial life takes on unstoppable momentum. Now, here is something crucial that you must understand about how life operates. Everything moves in cycles. The economy cycles between expansion and contraction. Industries cycle through boom and bust periods. Personal finances cycle through times of abundance and times of challenge. Even your personal energy cycles through periods of high activity and periods of rest. Most people fight these cycles instead of working with them. When they hit a difficult period, they panic and make desperate decisions. When they hit a prosperous period, they become complacent and stop doing the things that created the prosperity. They react to cycles instead of preparing for them. Millionaires study cycles. They understand that winter always follows autumn, but spring always follows winter. They use challenging periods to prepare for opportunities, and they use prosperous periods to prepare for challenge. They save during abundance to have resources during scarcity. They learn during slow periods to be ready for fast periods. What cycle are you experiencing right now in your financial life? If you are in a challenging cycle, this is not the time to give up. This is the time to prepare. Use this period to upgrade your skills, expand your knowledge, clarify your goals, and strengthen your resolve. The next opportunity cycle is coming, and you want to be ready when it arrives. If you are in a prosperous cycle right now, do not become complacent. Use this period to build reserves, create systems, and establish multiple streams of income. Prosperity cycles do not last forever, but you can use them to create permanent improvements in your financial foundation. The key is understanding that cycles are predictable, even if their exact timing is not. Economic recessions occur roughly every 7 to 10 years. Industry disruptions follow patterns. Personal financial cycles often mirror larger economic cycles. When you understand these patterns, you can position yourself to benefit from them instead of being victimized by them. But there is an even deeper pattern at work in your financial life: the pattern of your own consciousness cycles. Pay attention to your own energy pattern. When are you most creative? When are you most productive? When are you most optimistic? When do you tend to feel discouraged? Your consciousness has its own seasons. There are times when you feel inspired and motivated to take massive action toward your goal. There are times when you feel reflective and contemplative, better suited for planning and learning. There are times when you feel energetic and outgoing, perfect for networking and building relationships. There are times when you feel focused and analytical, ideal for managing money and making financial decisions. Instead of fighting these natural rhythms, work with them. Schedule your most important financial activities during your peak performance time. Use your reflective periods for goal setting and planning. Use your social periods for networking and relationship building. Use your analytical periods for budgeting and investment decisions. This alignment between your natural rhythms and your financial activities multiplies your effectiveness. You stop working against yourself and start working with yourself. You stop forcing actions that feel difficult and start taking actions that feel natural. This does not mean you only work when you feel like it. It means you work smart by matching the right activities to your natural energy cycles. Understanding cycles also helps you maintain perspective during challenging times. When you hit a setback, instead of seeing it as evidence that you are not meant to be wealthy, you see it as a natural part of the growth process. Every successful person has faced setbacks. Every millionaire has experienced failure. Every wealthy individual has gone through periods of doubt and discouragement. The difference is not that successful people avoid these challenges. The difference is how they interpret and respond to them. They see setbacks as temporary. They see failures as learning experience. They see challenges as opportunities to strengthen their resolve and refine their approach. When you truly understand that difficulties are not permanent conditions, but temporary cycles, you respond differently. Instead of panicking, you stay calm. Instead of making desperate decisions, you make strategic decisions. Instead of abandoning your goals, you recommit to them with greater wisdom and determination. This brings us to the most important cycle of all, the cycle of seed time and harvest time. Every goal you set, every action you take, every skill you develop is a seed planted in the soil of your consciousness. Some seeds grow quickly and produce results within days or weeks. Other seeds take months or years to mature. The mistake most people make is expecting all seeds to have the same growing season. They plant a career change seed and expect it to harvest in 30 days. They plant a business building seed and expect it to produce income immediately. They plant a financial education seed and expect it to yield wisdom instantly. But different seeds have different growing seasons. Some of your financial seeds will produce quick results. A new skill might lead to immediate income opportunities. A networking contact might create an instant partnership. A mindset shift might open doors within weeks. Other seeds require longer growing seasons. Building a business might take years to reach full profitability. Developing expertise in a field might require months of study. Creating multiple income streams might take time to establish. Your job is not to force all seeds to grow at the same pace. Your job is to keep planting, keep nurturing, and keep trusting the process. Some of your efforts will pay off quickly, giving you encouragement to continue. Other efforts will pay off later, often much larger than you expected. This is why successful people diversify their efforts. They do not put all their energy into one approach or one timeline. They plant seeds that will harvest in 30 days, seeds that will harvest in 6 months, seeds that will harvest in 2 years, and seeds that will harvest in 5 years. This creates a continuous harvest cycle where something is always coming to fruition. What seeds are you planting right now that will harvest in 30 days? What about 6 months, 2 years, 5 years? If you cannot answer these questions, you are not thinking strategically about your financial future. You are living day to day instead of building year to year. The universe operates on perfect timing, even when that timing does not match your preferences. Seeds planted in consciousness always produce results, but they produce results when conditions are right, not necessarily when you want them. Your job is to stay faithful to the process, maintain your expectation of success, and continue taking daily action regardless of what you can see happening on the surface. This understanding transforms how you approach temporary setbacks and apparent delay. Instead of seeing them as evidence that your approach is not working, you see them as part of the natural growing process. Instead of becoming discouraged by what appears to be slow progress, you become excited about what is developing beneath the surface. The most successful people I know have an almost supernatural faith in this process. They plant their seeds through daily action, they nurture their seeds through consistent effort, and they trust the harvest even when they cannot see it yet. This faith is not blind hope, it is educated confidence based on understanding how creation works. Your consciousness is always creating your next financial experience. The thoughts you think today, the actions you take today, the habits you practice today are seeds that will determine your financial harvest next month, next year, and next decade. This places tremendous responsibility on you to choose your thoughts and actions carefully, but it also places tremendous power in your hands to create exactly the financial future you desire. Think about it, not your circumstances, not your lack of time or money, not the people around you, but the quiet, subtle decisions you make every single day, the patterns you've tolerated, the habits you justify, the excuses you repeat, that internal resistance that convinces you to wait, hesitate, and retreat. That's the enemy, not failure, not rejection. Self sabotage is the silent killer of dreams, and it never announces itself. It comes disguised as logic, comfort, even humility. It tells you you're not ready, that now's not the time, that someone else probably deserves it more, that you need more information, more support, more clarity. But that voice isn't guiding you, it's guarding you from risk, guarding you from your own greatness. Because growth is uncomfortable, and your nervous system, it's addicted to safety. That's why most people spend their lives cycling through the same result. They try hard for a while, then fall off. Start again, burn out, repeat. Not because they lack talent, but because they never master the battle within. They react to their feelings instead of honoring their decisions. They let temporary emotion outweigh permanent vision. That's what separates the wealthy, not just financially, but mentally. Millionaire results require millionaire patterns. And those patterns start with the discipline to interrupt your sabotage in real time. Start here. Stop negotiating with yourself. If you made a decision, honor it. Don't entertain options that don't align with your outcome. There is no plan B when you're truly committed to plan A. You either show up or you don't. You either train or you don't. You either execute or make an excuse. And every time you let yourself off the hook, your brain learns that your word isn't law. It's a loose suggestion. Think about that. When you say, I'll do it tomorrow, and don't, when you hit snooze instead of rising, when you skip the hard conversation or scroll instead of studying, you're teaching yourself to tolerate mediocrity, to associate goals with guilt instead of identity, and that erodes your power. Daily discipline isn't about being rigid. It's about being reliable to yourself. It's not about motivation, it's about self respect. You want millionaire outcomes? You need millionaire rituals. Small actions done relentlessly until they become who you are. Not once a week, not when you feel inspired. Every day, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. And here's the truth nobody wants to say, it's supposed to feel boring sometimes. Greatness isn't always exciting. It's not always flashy, often it's repetitive. Consistency looks a lot like monotony, but that's what sharpens your edge. That's what builds the inner grit people can't see but always feel when you walk into a room. And that's where self-trust is born, in the daily moments where no one's watching, but you still rise, still train, still act like your vision already exists. So if you're tired of starting over, make this time different. Catch yourself in the act. When the voice tells you to scroll, delay, avoid, notice it, then interrupt it. You don't fight sabotage by yelling at it, you beat it by outbehaving it. With repetition, with clarity, with decisions that are so firm, your body has no choice but to follow. Ask yourself right now, what's one thing you keep saying you'll do, but haven't? What's the habit you keep breaking promises around? That's where your transformation starts. Not in some grand moment of change, but in the ordinary choice to follow through today. And when the resistance comes, and it will, don't be surprised. Don't moralize it. Don't overthink it. Expect it, then move anyway. That's the shift. Acting without needing to feel ready, showing up without needing to feel confident, and being willing to look messy in the short term so you can look powerful in the long term. Momentum rewards the consistent, not the perfect. And the beautiful thing about daily disciplines, they compound. The effort you put in today stacks on the effort from yesterday. And before you know it, you've rewritten your identity. Not with hype, but with evidence. Millionaire results don't come from a single breakthrough. They come from what you do when nobody claps, when it's inconvenient, when you feel like quitting. That's where most people fold. That's where you double down.